Welcome to Guelph Fight Wrestle Hut. I am Andrew Sennedra. This is the Beefcake Bruiser, Captain Witchfingers, and today we're talking about AEW's latest pay-per-view, Full Gear, and what went down, and our thoughts on the matches and those types of things as we usually do, etc., etc. So let's dive into that first match, which I think was a great start to the pay-per-view. We got Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in a steel cage. That's a huge way to start the pay-per-view with lots of huge moments. I felt like there was a lot of huge moments, at least. At least that's the way they set it up. A lot of high action. Lots of good ways to bloody each other up, and a lot of high exhilarating energy to get the fans involved and stuff like that, especially the big moment with Jungle Boy coming off the cage. I was imagining he was doing like a swanton or something, or a 450 slash. Instead he just did an elbow drop. But you got some thoughts down on what you thought about that match and how it went down?
Yeah, going back to the elbow drop, man, I was like, how do you like for Luchasaurus, how does he absorb that blow? Because there's nothing you can really do like that. The elbow drop is gonna hurt like hell.
He's gonna have to take all the weight, regardless, from Jungle Boy to go through the table and stuff.
Yeah, I remember like that elbow drop where Mosh killed the referee, broke all these ribs and all that stuff.
Savage went too hard on that ref.
And then when I saw Cage, he wasn't in commentator. I'm like, well, this guy. He's gonna do something sketchy, and then you see him, he's stealing the keys, and then he's trying to get in, he's gonna...
How obvious it was. He's like, you think you're gonna pull that off and nobody's gonna notice that you have the keys trying to get in there?
Another thing I thought was weird, because at Jungle Boy, at the press conference, he was still all messy and bloodied. And I'm like, he could have some time, his match was first, so he could have cleaned up or something, but... I don't know, he didn't.
Why did you think that was weird? Maybe he just wanted to hang out. He's just
maybe he's busy eating food. He's like, I'm not gonna clean my face. I'm just gonna just chill.
He didn't have a shower. He's just like, screw this, I'll shower later. And the pay-per-view starts off really good. Then we move on to an even better match, in my opinion. A match that really boosted the pay-per-view up right off the bat. The Elite versus Death Triangle, and that had so many awesome moments in it. Even right from the beginning with the intros, we were totally baffled by the entrance of Death Triangle that Penta wasn't wearing his vest. I've seen literally over 100 matches with Penta, and I've never seen him like that. So we're like, what the hell, who is that? And then this is so weird. And then obviously you had the big Elite entrance and everybody arriving, and just so many big moments. Kenny seemed to be back in full form, hitting on all cylinders. The energy was there, his speed was there, his excitement was there. He even looked a bit more muscular. Maybe he's working out. He had to get his core back because of the sports hernia, in his back. So you're probably working out, getting in really good shape and things like that. So everything was obviously, when those 3 or 6 guys get together, they're always working really well together because they know each other so well. They've had so many really good matches. So this, you knew, was going to be high pace, exhilarating, lots of wicked moves, lots of wicked energy throughout the match, and that's what exactly they delivered.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite match on the pay-per-view. Yeah, there's some awesome moments. Like Matt Jackson, he's jumping over the air. He's like, "You're going to hell!" And then he does that DDT, and then he super sells it. He's lands head first. I was like, "Oh man, Phoenix is dead."
Phoenix is him and Pac are 2 of the best guys for selling DDTs, making them look so horrendous. They do that really well up there with Ospreay.
And then it's also funny to see Nick Jackson. He does a dive outside, and then he's drinking a beverage. He's like, "What is this?"
Oh yeah, it was just kind of random that the guy just offers him beer, and he's like, well, I don't think it was a beer. I think it must have been something else because he drank it, but it was probably a pop or something. But yeah, there was lots of funny moments as well.
And it's interesting to see that Phoenix is slowly, maybe he's going to turn to the dark side, maybe Lucha Underground to turn to Black Phoenix. It's going to get black. It's going to turn all evil. It's going to go hell and beat people up.
Yeah, I think that would be good if Death Triangle sort of swings that way, because we were talking about that during the pay-per-view, how it was they're like, oh, talking about how Pac's cheating or whatever. I'm like, Penta used to be so dirty in Lucha Underground though. Like, he only got over for some reason, but he was breaking everyone's arms and bloodying everybody. Like, he was a dirty wrestler. So I don't really, maybe they didn't do their research or whatever, but like his history's already like that. We know Pac is, so we could see Phoenix maybe transitioning over into that, and I think that would give them some new flavor going in the future.
And now we just need Malachi to split that black mist into Phoenix's face and turn him pure evil.
That's what we were thinking, like, right? That could you renew that rivalry and have House of Black take over this time. So, yeah, so we were sitting there actually talking about how the rest of the pay-per-view was going to have a hell of a time because the first two matches were awesome, and then potentially, like, it peaked there. And unfortunately, in my opinion, I think in your opinion, we were right.
Yeah.
It sort of, didn't really have as much because we weren't into as many of the wrestlers or the matches following. Like, we have the four-way, which was okay, with a couple of guys we were not terribly into. Claudio, Danielson, you got Jericho and Sammy Guevara. So, the match was okay and stuff, but for the most part, it just wasn't, we weren't not terribly a big fan of half of those guys. And the best moment was Jericho improvising his Judas effect on a spinning Claudio. He just lunged, kind of hilariously. And
we had to rewind that one a couple of times. Like, what the hell happened? He just like, like, oh, he's supposed to do that spinning Judas, but he kind of just like, instead of going like aiming for the head, he like hit him in the body somewhere, looked like a fumble or some sort of tackle.
Yeah, I don't know how he expected that he was gonna pull that off with Sammy's body in the way, right? I know he tried to jump, but like that's a hard leap to make, I think, and try to hitting that at the same time.
I think maybe they could have reversed it, and like maybe he's like swinging Jericho, and then Sammy, who's like younger, athletic, maybe he could have.
Or maybe he does the Judas effect to like the back of Claudio's head, so he doesn't have to go over Sammy. He's spinning around that way, and he gives it to him to the back of his head.
And it's also interesting to see like the turns kind of thing, like how like JAS was predicting that Blackpool Combat Club would turn, but then
turn on each other.
Yeah, okay. And then Jericho and Sammy kind of beat each other up too. So we'll see how that fares going forward.
Yeah, it plays out going forward. But I was right thinking that like Jericho was going to hold on to the title because like I think it's all an idea to keep some eyes on ROH, and maybe like Jericho can go do an ROH pay-per-view. Same with Samoa Joe, which we can talk about now. Samoa Joe winning the TNT title, maybe he can boost those up over in ROH or something like that. But that was probably one of the other good matches, I think, on the pay-per-view. But I had higher expectations, considering it was Samoa Joe, Wardlow, and Will Hobbs. Like, I was expecting a little bit more. There was some few good moments in there with Wardlow, diving, clonking them in the head with his moonsault. Sort of thing, and then, in my opinion, I thought Will Hobbs had the best performance. He was able to like throw Joe around, which seems really hard to do.
Yeah, he's a pretty jacked guy. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why was Joe able to cheat and the ref didn't disqualify him? Like, did he pay off the ref? Like, what's going on here?
It was weird because like he pretty much saw it happen and they just like let it go. I'm like, was this because it was like a triple threat or something, lucha style, where anything sort of does go? I don't know. Like, are rules thrown out the windows on those now? They never really explained that, because I know like in other promotions, like triple threats and four ways, that does happen. I don't know if we missed that, but
I think it'd be funny if like Wardlow did the Jericho roll. He's like, he cheated. He used the belt. We cheated. But I don't think he'll go that route.
Then we get the tag team match. We'll jump onto the tag team title match. The Acclaim versus Swerve in Our Glory. Definitely another match that I had higher expectations for because of the previous two. I thought it would be a little more high paced or more action, more cool stuff, especially from Swerve, because we know how much he can do, especially with Kill Shot back in those Lucha Underground days. So I thought there was going to be a little more. The pace was really slow. It did feel like it dragged on a little bit, I felt, but Bowens was able to do like as much as he could do. He has definitely some good moves, but I think like he might have been injured a little bit. It's hard to say if that was for certain or they were playing that up or not.
I know sometimes they try to make it like oh, Keith Lee, he's like the big athletic guy, he can do so much. But like, I find some of like his athletic moves, they're like, it seems kind of like awkward kind of thing, right?
Oh,
like when he's
the
like
Poison Rana.
yeah, like the poison Rana, it was like very clunky, it was like very awkward, it wasn't smooth, right? And then,
He had to like jump and then he almost fell on bullets on the way over.
and then even the stuff where like they clothesline him over the ropes, he had to like you kind of see him just like jump, so then like they can actually like get him over because he's like so heavy kind of thing. So I'm like, there's some awkward moments there. I thought it was funny when Swerve like kept kicking Bowens in the head. He's like kicks him, yeah, like wait, he's like showboating, and kicks him again when he gets back up.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like Swerve had like so much, you know, in his offense, and it just didn't really show up too much in a pay-per-view. Like we were talking about, how you know people are paying for a pay-per-view, so you want to elevate the matches more. I didn't really feel like they elevated it too much in that match.
Well, at least you don't need to see them two as a team. They seem to be broken up now with that.
Yeah, I hope Swerve goes in some other direction. You know, maybe like Lucha Underground. Probably not, but I much prefer if he goes in another direction or something. Teams with AR Fox, those two old nemesis from Lucha Underground. That would be much cooler.
Yeah, that'd be pretty badass.
Then we move on to the last match, the title match between Jon Moxley and MJF. Another match that I don't think either of us had too much expectations going into. We're not really too blown away by anything the individuals do. For some reason, everybody loves MJF now because of what? He swore at Tony Khan and delivered his own pipe bomb, and now he has so much popularity, and everyone hates Moxley all of a sudden. I don't know. Maybe that's why the wrestlers always call the fans marks, but we didn't really jump on that bandwagon very much. Overall, the match was okay, I guess. But I think the biggest moment within that match was clearly the trickery at the end with Regal throwing him the brass knucks. He's tying his horses to MJF now. He's like, oh, I'm done with you, Mox. I'm going with the younger guy. He's going to make me money. Something like that. We'll have to see how that plays out. But overall, what did you think of the match?
Yeah, I thought it was like the prototypical. It was kind of like what we expected. You know, MJF likes to do those fake injuries. Like, he's like, oh my knee, oh my knee. But that power driver where Mox crushed MJF was pretty good. He like dropped on his noggin a little bit, and like for like that ending, like I thought like it was kind of suspicious. Regal, he's like getting a little bit close. Like, what is he doing, kind of thing? And then he give him the brass. I'm like, oh, okay, I see.
It was like on Dynamite when I was like, Samoa Joe just looked not impressed with Wardlow in that match. I was just thinking that he was up to no good, and you're like, how did you think that? I was like, I don't know. He was just standing there. He was not impressed, and then he was like behind him exactly in the Dynamite. So yeah, I can sort of see how there's the sneaky energy that Regal's giving off, moving closer and closer.
But I did thought maybe the firm will somehow interfere, but they didn't quite show up today.
I have to say, like, the pay-per-view was, you know, we didn't have too high expectations in it. We knew that, like, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, the Elite coming back versus Death Triangle were probably going to be, like, the prime points that were the best points in the pay-per-view. So that's sort of what we felt going in. I'd have to say, like, the matches on 0 Hour I was a little more into, even though, like, Eddie Kingston versus Jun Akiyama was like a meat and potatoes match. But there's just a presence that, like, those Japanese guys have and Kingston has. Like, they can be like more simplistic matches, meat and potato style or something, but there's just some sort of like energy they have compared to like what MJF has or Danielson and Claudio. Like, he just has a different type of way of doing the matches that makes them more you're more invested or more excited in. So I definitely think that his match was better than ones on the pay-per-view. I definitely thought the 10-man match between all the best friends and the factory was better, especially when Danhausen came out, a little more evil. So I definitely think like those matches, in my opinion, were better than half the matches on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I really like the evil Danhausen. He's got like jars of teeth, like throwing teeth in people's faces. And then I was also kind of surprised with like Kingston. It's like, oh man, usually he's like yelling, he's just like disrespecting everyone. I'm like, oh, he's like showing this guy, this old geezer, like so much respect. He's like in shock. He's like starstruck. I'm like, oh, I'm not used to seeing this The
Well, that's
side
what I
of
mean.
Houston.
He makes you invested in so many ways because like so much is real, especially like his promo little bit right before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, yeah.
He keeps talking about the guy counting him down. He's like, "Oh, I'm done." Okay, he just drops it right in the middle of his speech. So that's what makes Kingston fun. Is it's just like it is reality, it is genuine, authentic, and that's what you get from him. So he's really entertaining to watch because you don't really know what to expect. You know, it's not like a Ric Flair match. You could pretty much, you know, plot out the entire match and know what's coming. With him, it's all over the place.
I thought that was hilarious when he's like grabbing the mic. He's like, "How much time do I have?" Okay, he's like, okay, this guy's yelling at me. I must stop. I must go." He just drops the mic. He just walks out the door.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's more entertaining to watch, I think, because of that unpredictability.
Yeah.
So that's our thoughts on Full Gear. Maybe not our most well out thoughts because we weren't expecting too much, but on our scale of good, great, awesome, amazing, spectacular, and fantastic, I think we both agreed on where this landed.
Good.
Yeah, we both went good because Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, the Elite, Death Triangle pushed it up into the good out of like the decent and okay realm. You always need to have something. If not, we probably wouldn't have graded and just been like, oh, we forgot to that time. So, but that's what we thought on Full Gear. Apparently a lot of people loved it. It wasn't our cup of tea, which is okay. That's not the end of the world, and it's just our opinion. And if you loved it, that's your opinion. That's fine. We're not going to disagree with you. But what are your thoughts on Full Gear? Let us know down in the comments and stuff like that. And until next time, folks, how about some more of those goofy videos we're talking about? We got some funny stuff coming up here in the future as well. Plus, our top 10s. Top 10 wrestlers and top 10 tag teams. Those should be fun to do, though. I'm actually excited to sort of dissect everything and do my lists. So until next time, folks, how about some heavy wrestling?